and head in that direction. While we play the patience game, let's send you back to Ralph, who's meandering in the Western Mara.
Thanks, Brent. Yeah, well, we've decided just to hang a little bit longer with these wonderful I keep on saying elephants. It's like what I was saying with Jamie, and I kept on calling her Taylor and all sorts of names. Now I'm calling the hippos elephants. But look at that one on the left. You can see how much darker it is around the eye. That's a male. There we go. Now we've spotted one. You see? So the females have got like that makeup around their eye, where the males are much darker. And there's a very big looking female over there. And we got some rain coming. There it starts already. Not that the hippos are going to mind, they're wet already. But we might get a little bit wet. Now, Squawk, you want to know what happens to the hippos when it floods? They do need to be a little bit careful, Squawk, because they can get washed down. Ooh, there we go. Nice. Open up for us. We can see right down his throat. Thank you, mister. That's a young male, that. So what happens is they do need to try and get into some of the backwaters and so on. So it can be a little bit of a problem for them. And I've actually seen in Isimangaliso, which is a mouthful as well, in the KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa, the old St. Lucia National Park, there was flooding there, and I actually saw some of the hippos get washed out to sea, and then they were relaxing on the beach after that little affair, and so they can get into trouble, but generally they would just then seek shelter in those little backwaters and where it's a bit calmer on the sides, if the river allows for it, that it doesn't come up too quickly. Because you can sometimes have sort of flash floods, and then the hippos can get washed down. So, as I say, there needs to be a little bit of caution on their part, and but they do know the water very well, and I'm sure that they do feel as the water starts rising, the current gets stronger, and so they would make for more sheltered waters. As the journey of Giraffe begins on the opposite bank. Now that is very elegant. There's all sorts of swallows and things flying around as well. And I often say, you know, that that legend that if the swallows are flying low, it's generally going to rain. And it seems like they're doing it exactly on time. Now that looks like 3 males in a row. As you can see very easily from this position, you can't really see what's going on with their ossicones, but you can see all of their little penis flaps halfway up their stomach. There we go. They're all following each other. Seems like they might have a bit of beef to work out. And there, a little bit of interaction with them once more. Lots of males there. I think they're all trying to work out who's the boss, who's going to get the dominance over the female. And it's not always that the female is then receptive to whichever male wins. She might, in the end, actually turn them all down. But at least the most dominant of them is the one that is potentially got the strongest genes, and that's because he's been able to win the battle of the head swinging and necking wars that they have. And so she would stand on the outskirts and then wait for the winner, almost like gladiators. They do fight, and they fight it out, get the winner, and then the prize is the female. Right, everyone, I think I'm going to move on a little bit and see what happens with this rain. Maybe I can get a bit away from it, otherwise we're going to have to put our covers down. But while I do that, let's head you on back over the river to Brent with, once again, those wonderful cats.
Well, they're starting to get up and on the move now. One's just decided to take a break. The others are coming out of the bush they've been resting in. Now, as I said, there are some impala around, but the impala seem to be too wily for them today. Look at that. Aren't they absolutely gorgeous? Hi, Peter. Peter would like to know, do they purr like house cats? Indeed they do, Peter. So they are the only big cat that has a solidified hyoid apparatus. Now that is a small bone in their throat. Lions and leopards and tigers have an elastic one which enables them to roar because it vibrates, whereas cheetah have a solid bone one. So they do purr, squeak, yelp and hiss. Their growl is probably one of the least intimidating sounds you will ever hear out of a big cat. But yes, they do purr like house cats. Okay, well, you're going to have to move to keep up with them and see where they're off to next. Norman is wondering, do cheetahs fight hyenas? Norman, under normal circumstances, no. But a coalition of males like this will sometimes fight off hyenas. But as soon as there's 2 or 3, they'll immediately try and get out of their way. So, but a single hyena, yes, these 5 boys will try and chase off and defend their kills against. Well, here comes the wind that was hitting Rolf. I'm hoping the rain's going to miss us out here, though. Oop, nearly lost a water bottle. Debbie is wondering, does Malika's home range overlap with the 5 boys? Yes, it does. Malika doesn't really have a home range, she just has the whole Mara. But yes, it does. She does actually, we've seen her not far from them on quite a few different occasions. Now, I'm just going to do what I did last time again. We're going to go up ahead of where the boys are to see if there's any potential prey up ahead. The wind is coming straight into them, so no chance of them being sniffed out. But I'm hoping there are some antelope somewhere up on this beautiful ridge. And let's just keep checking where they are. Okay, they're okay. We're going to go just have a look over this edge, see what's there. Now, JR is wondering whether they will ever temporarily separate to mark territory to control a bigger area. Not with cheetah. If they separated, it's not for very long. It's either for mating or they've been separated while being chased by lions or something like that. But no, they don't separate like male lions do to cover a bigger area. They are almost always together. Okay, we're getting to the edge here. Megsy, you're asking me for a link. Sorry about that. Megs is asking me to. Okay, so as you know, we're going to go across to Rolf, who's left the river. There's a Tommy there. Thanks, Brent. Yes, we have left the river, everyone. I've just tried to get a little bit away of this particular cloud that is just dropping a bit of rain on us, but it is making for beautiful light looking over towards the escarpment there, and we've got these very big drops of rain coming. And when we say when we've got the sun shining and rain at the same time, we call that a monkey's wedding day. Now I can't even remember, I did look it up at one stage, but a very interesting little story there, a mythological folklore and so on, but for the life of me I can't remember the story itself. But when it's raining and the sun is out, it's a monkey's wedding day, and that's exactly what it is right now. So we're getting rained on, nice big drops hitting me in my face. But let's hope once we get there into the sunlight, it's going to stop raining. And unfortunately, my phone battery has gone flat, so I'm not going to be able to show you those very interesting pictures of me dressed up as a Maasai. But I'm going to put them all out on Twitter,
So you guys can all have a look. If you look at my Twitter handle, it's RalphKirsten1, and I'll also be linking it onto the hashtag Safari Live, because I've been answering all the questions as the expert in the mornings with the live show. I won't be doing it tomorrow because there's some real experts that are going to be on tomorrow morning, but on Thursday morning I'll be doing it again. So if you are interested, you can also link on there with the hashtag Safari Live, and I will attempt and do my best to answer everybody's questions. And as I say, once again, then you could probably be able to link on there and see the very interesting afternoon that I had. Now we're still trying to work out where these lions are. That it was said that they were feeding on a buffalo. Whether they killed it or not, I'm not quite sure. But I'm looking for any signs, maybe a jackal or two around, maybe a hyena. That's going to just give us some evidence that there's a kill or a carcass with some lions potentially lying up in the shade. I haven't seen anything for now, so I'm wondering if they're all wherever that carcass is. Now everyone, I'm going to continue on the search for these lions, but while I do that, I'm going to head you all the way back down south to South Africa, and Tristan, he's got some of those wonderful Juma elephants.
Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to a swelteringly hot, beautiful Djuma Game Reserve. The sky is blue, the sun is out, and well, the ellies are feeding. Today I've got a Dangerous Dave, and well, we are coming to you live from South Africa, so that means hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or YouTube chat, much like what you've been doing with Ralph and Brent in the Mara, and seems like they're having a wonderful afternoon as well. Now, the plan is for this afternoon was to try and find elephants, which we stumbled upon in the last minute or so, and they kind of just slowly drifting around, having a good feed. They've had a nice mud wallow at Cheetah, and now I think they're going to go down into the Mulawati for a little bit of shade where they'll find some good vegetation and casually feed off that. So we'll probably spend some time with the ellies, and then later this afternoon I'm going to try and go back to our western boundary, because well, there's prospects for all kinds of spotted cats on the western side. There is Hukumuri male, who is a sore point at the moment because he apparently has been on a warthog kill for 2-3 days on Juma, and we didn't manage to find him, which is not ideal. That's my sad face, because I wanted to show all of you Hukumuri, and unfortunately we found him during the day today, and then he crossed into Arathusa, the naughty boy. So hopefully he comes back, maybe, you never know. And then Tumba was also seen on parallel on Arathusa, which is about 100 meters into Arathusa, and Shadulu female has also got a kudu kill on that road. So there's kind of a mixture for a lot of things to happen. Maybe Shadulu gets chased off by Hukumuri or Tumba and they come to our side, so we're going to go scratch around there a little bit later, and I think Scotty is going to go and try and see if he can kind of catch up with Thandi and cub from this morning. I believe that she's in that area still, and I think she took a bit of the carcass back to the cub, so that's I think what Scotty's going to be up to. So hopefully it will be a busy, productive afternoon. That's the idea anyway. It certainly started well for us. A elephant herd to begin things is always welcome. I'm going to reposition slightly because they are just drifting off away from us a little bit. You can see they've kind of crossed from where the mud wallow is in front of me. Although they didn't use this mud wallow, there's a mud wallow behind us and Cheetah that they used before this. And I wonder if this isn't the herd I had this morning on the TV show, because I had a herd that had a very small little calf that was brand new, and so I want to see if maybe this is the same herd. Doesn't look like it. There are lots of ellies anyway at the moment. So while I kind of reposition and find myself a nice shady spot so I don't get burnt by the sun, let's send you over to Scotty D so he can tell you what his plan of attack is to try and find Thandi and that cute little cub.
Well, like Tristan says, it to also find as much shade along the way as I can as we head to the area where he had her and that little. They're going to be in a similar area. She still does have some of the water nearby. Good prospect. So hot, they may not be too active, but you never know. When you've got a tiny little youngster around, they can be playful at kind of unusual times compared to when the adults would normally be active. So who knows, maybe we'll come across the cub giving mom a bit of a hard time wanting to play. If not, we'll just loop around and possibly come back into that area a little bit later. Wonderful prospects for us. And well done to Tristan for finding some ellies. And it sounds like old Brent and Ralph up in the Mara are also having a good safari so far. The musketeers are bound to do something at some point. They've been spending a lot of time sleeping with poor old Brent, and Brent battles to sit still at the best of times, so he must be getting very, very ready for some action. Good, well it sounds like Tristan has repositioned. I'm not sure if he's found some shade, but he has found a good view of the elephants.
We have found shade, Scotty, and the ellies. So the ellies are being very obliging by sitting where they are, and I've got a nice bit of shade from a beautiful big marula tree on ever had, but it's enough to stay nice and cool. But these ellies are really taking it very easy, and it's amazing to watch how things have changed over the last little bit in terms of their diets. You know, we had a week ago before the rain, we had a situation where they were mostly feeding off leaves and those kind of things, whereas now we see a situation where they're taking up huge clumps of grass. After the rain, the grass is seeded and there's a lot of food and nutrients on it, and so they kind of swathes of grass mixed in with the marula fruits at the moment, and there looks like quite a pregnant female. Now Dale, you're wondering, since we're talking about resting and those kind of things in the heat of the day, and you're wondering if elephants ever sit or lay down. So yes, the babies do sit and lay down quite a lot. They like to kind of find some shade and then they lie down and the herd feeds around them. Also at night, the babies, after a long day of walking, will often rest. In terms of the adults, very seldom do the females lie down and sleep, because they are there to protect the young ones and make sure that they're okay, so you don't see that too much. But what you do see in terms of adults lying down is the big bull elephants, particularly those that have massive tusks. You'll often find them lying like a termite mound, a riverbank. They'll kind of lie up against that, and that will just take the weight off their head for a while, so they'll be able to just rest a little bit. So it is quite common to see ellies lying down, but the babies are probably the ones that lie down the most frequently out of all of the elephants in the sort of male-female herd structure environment. But they are slowly but surely now heading down towards the Muluwati. I think it's gotten a little hot out in the sun, so they fed a bit in the grass, but it really is cooking. You can see how all their ears are just working non-stop. None of the ears are even staying stationary for 2 seconds. Every single one of them, their ears are kind of flapping and moving and flapping and moving, and that's just to try and sort of balance this heat out and try and kind of keep their body temperature down. You can also see how all the ears are wet. So Dale, you're wondering if an elephant's ears are as sensitive as its trunk. Now, Dale, are you talking in respect to kind of touch-wise? Is it as sensitive if I touch an elephant's ear as if it touches its trunk? Or are you talking about whether or not it's able to perceive its environment better using its sense of smell as opposed to its sense of hearing? But in terms of the sensitivity of the ears, because of the amount of blood vessels and things that are on them, you know, they are sensitive, but not as sensitive as the tip of that trunk. The tip of that trunk is used to feel things, to look for things, investigate things, whereas the ear is not really designed for that. It's not designed to give the elephant a sense of its environment. It's more designed to be able to kind of keep it cool, and then obviously to be able to hear what's going on, but it's not there to be a tactile sensory organ. You find that the trunk will probably be far more sensitive to touch than what the ears are, but in terms of their sense of hearing and their sense of being able to smell, probably very, very similar. An elephant has this massive ear that's able to kind of pull forward and channel sound waves into the inner eardrum, and therefore hear incredibly well, and obviously their sense of smell is incredibly good as well. So it's difficult to know which one is more sort of sensitive to things, and obviously they're designed for different purposes, and so they'll be probably in their own right as sensitive as they could possibly be for the elephant to kind of maintain its sort of grip on what's going on and to be able to work out its environment. So it's both are designed perfectly for what they need it for, and therefore it's difficult to kind of make a judgment unless we're sort of measuring, like I say, tactile sensitivity. So if I touch an elephant's ear versus the tip of its trunk, which one is it getting more information out of? Probably its trunk more than anything else. Right, let's carry on with our ellies, because they are slowly but surely disappearing, and I think it might be really nice if we drop into the Muluwati. So we're going to go round and come into the Muluwati from the bottom, and hopefully what we're going to get is all the ellies coming on. There's like a shelf that's eye level, and so we can maybe even see their feet at eye level, which will be really cool. So I'm going to just go around and have a little look and see what's going on that side. Perfect weather. It's hot, but it's beautiful. There's sun is out, it's clear, greens are vivid, blues are vivid, so wonderful day to actually be out and about. Right, now while I kind of negotiate the Mulawati and get down into position, I'm going to send you all the way back across to Kenya and to my good friend the shaggy Brent Leo Smith, as he is still with his 5 boys, and I wonder if they're going to provide some entertainment this afternoon.
Well, the boys are still behind us. I'm keeping up ahead of them in this wind and trying to see what potential hunts are up. Okay, let's have a look now. Oh, there's quite a lot of animals here. Oh, there's eland. See that eland running there. Oh, there's some zebra as well. On the opposite side there's an eland running. Adrian, you see it? I come out and left. Behind the elephant somewhere. There, to the right. Here we go. Now these boys have been known to take subadult eland. That one might look a bit big. And I don't see any young zebra either. But there are a lot of animals in this valley. Oh, let's have a look. There are some topi. As you can see, elephants. Those are definitely not on the boys' radar for dinner. So see what's at the top end of the valley. More eland, tommies, impala, topi. So lots of stuff up at the top end of the valley. Now, if I was the cheetah, which way would I go? I would go off to the right of where those tommies are. I think there's a lot more potential prey up there. Starting to get a few spots of rain. Hopefully it stays away. Okay, I'm going to move again. Just want to check where the boys are. I might have to change hats soon with this wind. Okay, let's just keep checking carefully to see if we can see where they're coming from. I think the best option is going to be to go to the other side of the valley, and we can then see which way they're going to go from a distance and then make our decision from there. Hold on, this wind is coming down. Oh, not coming down, it's blowing. Okay, well, I get to the other side of the valley. Let's go back to Tristan and see how his elephants are doing. Hopefully they're having a ball in the shade in the Mulawati River.
Well, we're still with our Ellies. They're slowly but surely coming down the bank, but I'm not sure I'm in the right spot. Dave, I think we might have to reposition slightly. Hold on, let's just redo this because we're a little bit kind of compromised. I was hoping that they were going to come this way because they were walking towards where I am, so I thought they might come this side. Also, I was being a little naughty because I wanted a little bit of shade for Dave and I don't think we can be sort of held accountable too much for that because it is warm out here, but we'll try and go back and put ourselves in the sun to try and get the shot that we're looking for. Dave and I are both talking about how nice it will be with these Ellies sort of at eye level, especially if they kind of walk towards us and feel. Yeah, there we go. So, Gem Video, you're wondering if I've ever heard an elephant sneeze. So yes, I have heard an elephant sneeze. It is quite something when they do, but it's more just to kind of clear out of the trunk. So we have a situation where they'll kind of get something in their trunk, and maybe sometimes even a little bit of snot or something like that, and then they just kind of exhale very quickly and you just hear this and stuff just goes everywhere. It's really not ideal. And when I was up in Kenya with those orphaned elephants up there, and they often, the young ones used to do that, you actually had to massage their trunk sometimes if they had a bit of pneumonia or something like that. You'd kind of rub their trunk down and then they'd get to the point where it would build up and then they'd like force it out in a sneeze and the stuff would just go everywhere and you'd be covered in mucus mucus and various other stuff from an elephant. It was not the best thing, but it was amazing in its own respect. So yes, they can sneeze, and I have heard them sneeze. You'll find also if they've been doing a bit of dust bathing, sometimes that gets kind of caught in their nose, and you can actually watch their trunk wrinkling at the top end as they're trying to kind of work out what's going on, and then there's this big sneeze that happens, and so comes out a little bit of dust and other stuff. But it does happen. It's not common, but it does happen from time to time. But how cool is this? It's amazing to kind of see an Ellie just on the tops of the grass, and if she walks to where we are, we're just going to have the most magical sighting. And I think she will, and the reason why I say that is because a lot of the grass that's between me and where that elephant is, you see that grass with the kind of very white feathery tops to it, there's a lot of grass inside there that is guinea grass. Now, guinea grass is one of the tastiest grasses that we get out here for animals, and they love those seeds. The seeds are sticky and sweet, and so you're going to find the elephants come and they get huge swathes of this grass and feed off it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do head to where we are. And if an elephant stands where we are now and on this bank, it's just going to be absolutely spectacular. Mina, you're wondering if an elephant has ever adopted another elephant's baby and that's been orphaned? So in the wild, generally no, it doesn't happen like that. And the reason why is most elephant cows in the wild, if they are able to breed, are either pregnant or have a calf of their own to look after, and that is a full-time responsibility, and so adopting of another one is really kind of not possible, and so that they don't. But you can never rule out anything in nature. This is the glorious thing about being out here and being able to witness what goes on, is that some days some elephant somewhere might adopt another baby and we see a completely different story to what we normally know. And so that's the nice thing about it, is they don't read the books. It's possible that it could happen, and it might, and there might have even been a recorded case in the past, but normally no, they don't adopt them. They're too busy with their own calves, and it's taxing enough to raise a calf of your own. And we can imagine being pregnant for 22 months. There's a lot of nutrients that is absorbed through that calf's growth, the fetal sort of growth, and then when it comes out, it's a little one. And so it's a long process of trying to kind of look after babies, and as soon as they're giving birth, they're mating again to produce the next one. So they don't really have time to be adopting others, but I suppose it is possible and it can happen. What is interesting though is those orphaned elephants that we dealt with, is a lot of them were rescued very early, so around a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 5 months old, and so all quite small. And they would actually form a herd together, and even though they wouldn't adopt one another as a mother figure, they would adopt one another as a kind of herd figure, and so they would be able to integrate into a herd, but they wouldn't actually kind of mother one another. So they would just look after each other, but they wouldn't be a mother, so to speak. And so it was interesting kind of watching that. And as they go older and they get to sort of 15, 16 years old, so they integrate with wild herds, which is pretty cool. Now look, she's coming straight towards us. Hopefully she's going to feed her way directly to where we want her to go, because it's just going to be so cool if she comes and stands right over us. You'll get a really nice sort of a feel for her size if she comes. Female to walk towards us, or no, we're not going to wait for our female to walk towards us. We're going to go to Ralph, but I think Ralphie is busy with something else and has a few little issues, so we'll just carry on with our Ellies. Now don't turn that. Foiled our plan and gone the wrong way, unfortunately. She's going to where we were first at Derby, which is probably where we should have stayed. There's another one still coming, so we'll give it decides to come closer towards us, but I surmise that this is not going to be the case. Right, so while our Ellies kind of figure out which way they want to go, and so best view of them, let's send you back across to Ralph, who I think has now figured out the issues and hopefully is ready to see all of you guys with a very pretty gazelle.
Yes, thank you. Well, we are looking at these little Tommies here, but look in the background there. I told you that we were looking for some clues to see where these lions are that have been eating a buffalo. And, well, that is exactly the kind of clue that we're looking for. Unfortunately, there's not a road that goes straight to this hyena, but I'm going to have to move off in a minute and try and catch up with her. We're just watching her for a little while from here. She's heading towards the airstrip, walking into the wind, and I won't be surprised if she doesn't have a whiff of that carcass. So if we had to follow her, I think she might lead us to the lions. There's the Chitwa airstrip with the aeroplanes parked off, and it's walking around, and the news we got was that there was a kill here near to the airstrip. So my feeling is that this hyena is going to be heading straight in that direction. Now, what's that running up behind it? Is that a warthog? I wonder what that is. Why would a warthog be running up behind a hyena? Maybe sending it packing. Off you go. Wagging the tail quite happily, saying, yep, you better tell your story walking, hyena. But I think she's more interested in something that she's caught a whiff of in the wind. Walking straight into the wind, you can see there. That is a sizable hyena indeed. And that's why I'm saying from this distance, even I'm pretty sure that it is a female. The males don't generally get that big. Thanks for your comment, Guide Monkey. You're saying that the hyena has a plane to catch. Well, she's not going to be going anywhere just yet. I think because this massive storm is arriving that you would have seen with Brent on the other side of the river, we're just on the edge of it, but it is a big one, and we're just getting a few drops every now and then, but it seems to be going sort of in Brent's direction, luckily for us, unlucky for him. Now, I am going to start up and head in that direction of that hyena because I don't want to lose her, and she's our first and only clue for the time being. But I need to take this road. There's no road going across towards her, so I've got to do a big loop all the way back to her, and that's why I don't want to leave her too long. Now, while I try and catch up with this hyena, let's head you on over the river to Brent, who I think is still with those beautiful cheetah.
Well, they've stopped to peruse the valley. We're on the opposite side. As I said, there's quite a lot of stuff here, but I think they went the wrong way. So they're taking a time out, trying to plan their next move. You can see they're looking up and down. Some of them are laying down already, but as you can see, close to us though, we've got some zebras, and you might hear the pitter-patter of a few raindrops hitting our roof. I'm hoping the majority of that storm will miss us, but we might have to drop covers. We'll just have to wait and see. It's starting to sound a little bit more serious. But no baby zebras here. Not really a big problem for the boys. Sorry, the boys aren't a big problem for the zebra. All adults and zebras can be quite aggressive. Okay, we're going to keep an eye on them. I'm going to have to put down some rain covers. While we do that, let's send you back all the way to South Africa to Tristan and some elephant.
Well, our Ellies are still walking alongside us on the Mulawati. It is just so cool, and we've got two cheeky young bulls that keep kind of looking at us and trunks going up, and every now and then they come towards us. So I'm just going to try and go a little bit further forward so I can keep up with them. They sort of ghost past us, and then they come, and because they've got the sort of size on their side and the bank, they get quite sort of cocky about what they're doing, and they kind of get up and stand right on the edge, and then they look down on me and with their ears out and trunk up. But of course, here we go. You see, look, here it comes. Every time I come past, they keep doing the same thing. It really is quite fun to watch these guys and how these youngsters get very naughty. Wondering.
What's going on with this bloody earpiece?
Please don't move in the rain. I only see one. Yeah, they're hiding. Oh god.
Okay everyone, I don't know what happened there, but nonetheless, we're still on our hunt to get back to that hyena. Hopefully she doesn't disappear into the thickets by the time we get there, because I'm pretty sure she'll lead us to that lovely carcass with the lions. Now look straight ahead and you can see that very dark grey area in front. That's obviously what Brent is dealing with at the moment, so I won't be surprised if he's having to put covers up and batten down the hatches. Luckily it's just shifted a little bit away from us now. We were starting to get a bit wet, but it seems to have moved away now, so we seem to be in the clear, so all good. But the mission is to try and find those lions so that we can put Taylor onto a lovely character for tomorrow morning's show. But failing that, well, there's always the hyenas, and it seems that they've been producing around that den as well. Always exciting with those little cubs, and fantastic to be in close quarters with those beautiful animals. Well, I think so, not everyone will think the same, and allowing us the privilege and to be in such a tight personal space with them, and they're so relaxed with us there. So that is really a true privilege that we need to respect and look after those animals with not impeding on their space too much, and just maintaining a little bit of rules in that area. But it seems that the little youngsters have also been very curious, coming up to the vehicle and testing out the side of the vehicle as well, even going so far as attempting to bite the tires. Now there is also a little bit to that, I think, because the researchers, when I stopped to chat with them the one day, they showed me that they've actually got a pole with like this big ball of cotton wool on the end. I don't know if it's cotton wool or cloth or something like that, and they're actually like antagonizing or attempting to let their little youngsters chew on it, because then they're doing tests on their saliva. I'm not quite sure exactly what they're testing with their saliva, but I think that might be why they are coming up to the vehicle and attempting to bite on it as well, because obviously with their research doing that. So it's a little bit of a habit, and that's something that I don't want them to get used to on the vehicle itself. It's fine that they're doing it with a stick. I'd like for them to just maintain it with the stick and not let them get used to biting onto people's vehicles, because they can start getting into a bad habit like that, and then you might have a lot of people getting stuck because these hyenas are coming up and biting their tires. And if you have two tires bitten and go flat in the middle of a game reserve, and you've only got one spare, it can be quite a difficult situation that you could land up in. Besides the point that it might be quite dangerous, because you've got to get out and change these tires in the midst of hyena, potentially lion, elephant, whatever else. And so while I try and catch up with this hyena, and if it leads us to the lions, and it's starting to rain a little bit as well, let's head you on back down south to South Africa once again to the leopard whisperer Tristan.
Well, hopefully Ralph can catch up with those hyenas and he'll be able to see where they lead him to. I know Ralph absolutely loves spending time with those mischievous little spotted predators, so hopefully he'll get a really good sighting. Now, we're still with our Ellies. Unfortunately, where we were, we just had really bad signal, and it was a pity because we had all of the elephants come right up to the car at eye level. In fact, they were maybe not even 2 meters from the side of us. It was absolutely spectacular, and they kind of came right up and they were all looking at us, all these sub-adult males. It was very, very cool. But unfortunately, the signal wasn't great, so we had to kind of reposition ourselves so that our tail is up in the air and try and get our aerial up a little bit, which seems to be working, as you can now all see us. And there's the big female. She's the old grandma of this group. There's very sunken temples there, so that's a good sort of sign of the fact that it is an older female. When they start to age, those areas just above the eyes there, you can see there's kind of a bone structure and then 2 hollows that develop. When you see that, you know that that is a much older individual. So I would say that this female is probably already in her late 40s, and so coming towards the sort of end of her life. Well, if you compare the sort of length of the life, it's in her last sort of phase, but she's still got probably a few years in her. And are you wondering if an elephant can breathe through its mouth if it's... Us as humans, we can do it as well. So while they prefer to kind of breathe through their trunks, they will be able to breathe through their mouth as well. Particularly, you can imagine if there's something like when they are in water and they, kind of sucking up water, they still need to somehow be able to get oxygen. And so most of the time they can breathe with their mouth as well, but the trunk is the favored organ for taking in air. So cool though. We're sitting here and there's literally everywhere around me, I can just hear the feeding of elephants. The amazing part about it is not one of them is feeding off trees either. They're all on grass. So as they're kind of moving off, they're going onto grass. Now, I would like to catch up with them, but I'm really worried about my signal. So I do apologize if we do lose signal, because we're going to have to try and get around that corner, and I'm not sure if it's going to work. Also, my earpiece has now come out, which is not ideal. So hold on, Meg. Sorry, my earpiece has just had a little malfunction, but there we go. That's better. Now it's working again. It's all good. So sometimes we get these little things. I don't know what's happening. This is like a little nightmare hotspot here where earpieces don't work, cars don't get signal, elephants disappear. So it's all happening right here. We're going to try and kind of get ourselves out of this predicament. And while we do that, let's send you back across to Scott and see whether or not he's had any luck with Thandi and the little one.
Well, as you can see, we have had some luck, and we've literally just turned off the vehicle, and there we can see Thandi. She is the mother, and there is a tiny little furball cub somewhere nearby, I'm guessing, but it is so hot. You can see Mom panting away trying to keep cool, and I'm guessing a little bit later on, once things do cool off a little bit, the cub may pop out and give us a bit of an appearance. It's not only the fact that Mom is very hot, but she's also full-bellied. They've got a waterbuck kill somewhere nearby, and I'm actually told that she may have brought back a small piece of the kill into this area with the cub, for the cub to probably nibble on, and the rest of the kill. So that's background on the scene. We're not too sure how long she's had the kill here, but she was found yesterday afternoon. And Tristan had a wonderful morning here with her and the little cub. The cub was very, very playful this morning. I'm told it was biting Mom all over her body, really giving her a hard time. And we've been already so lucky to see some incredible scenes between this mother. Now, there was a report that there were some lions heading into this area, which is definitely not a good thing for her or her cub. But they have just been found, and at least they are not too close for the time being. But the fact that she does have a kill means that the lions could smell it out and pose a possible threat to mainly the cub. It would be unlikely that she would get caught out by lions. Being an adult, she's 11 years old and very aware of the risks of lions, as well as how to avoid them. However, her young cub is only about 3 months old, possibly just a little bit more than that, and still very, very vulnerable. So that's possibly why Mom has decided not actually to take her to where the majority of the meat is. It's just a theory. The last time she had a kill, she actually had a baby waterbuck and a duiker kill in the same tree, and she did take the cub to it, but she ended up having to flee the scene just in time before a big male lion arrived and stole both of those kills out of the tree. But she made a clever move in getting out of that area before he came onto the scene. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Quite a tricky area. The trackers did very well to find her in here. A couple of, when was it? Yesterday, kind of mid-afternoon. So well done to them. Not an easy business tracking these guys down. And I'm told a lot of you are very, very happy to see that we've managed to find her again, and I'm certainly also very happy. This could well be the last time I get to see her and the cub before I head off on my next break. It's only on the 15th, so there's still time. But the reality is that my days here at Juma are numbered, and I really do need to start making the most of the wonderful opportunities to view leopard before heading off to the Masai Mara. Nice big yawn there. Joel, you'd like to know if Thandi is known to be an amazing hunter, and yes, it seems like hunting is not something that she finds difficult to do. It's something that would be very difficult for us as humans to have a good grip on, because we don't spend every waking minute with them, so it's difficult to know exactly how effective she's born in the same litter called Shadow, but it is definitely seems to be the case that she never has a hard time having food. She's always kind of got food around. So that's with the little time that I've spent with her. Tristan spends a lot more time with her, and you're going to head back to him now, so he'll probably be able to shed a little bit more insight onto her hunting capabilities versus other leopards in the area.
Well, Scott, I can tell you that Thandi is probably one of the best hunters we've got here in the northern Sabi Sands. She is incredibly capable of finding food. Very seldom you see Thandi looking skinny, and on top of that she is incredibly good at hunting rather large animals too. So I've said it before, I've seen Thandi take a fully grown female kudu, which is probably about easily 5 to 6 times her body weight, which when you think about that is really quite something for her to be able to do that. So she's an incredibly good hunter, and she's clever as well. You know, at the moment she's taking full advantage of the fact that there's baby animals. So everything she's killing is young animals, and she's killing small things that she can drag quite easily close to wherever the cub is and put it up there, and then she can just do short little sort of movements from the kill towards the cub, which allows her then not to be too far, and if anything happens she can rush to that cub's defense fairly quickly. It's really clever to watch how she's gone about things. So the only other female that I've ever seen that's probably as good at hunting as what Thandi is probably Salehesh. Salehesh was also another female that we used to find on a kill every other day. She was phenomenally good at what she used to do, and Kruger, we know, was also pretty good. So, you know, it's those 3 females are probably some of the best that I've seen, and they regularly are found with carcasses, and even rather large ones for their size, which is pretty cool. So it's good to see. Right, but our Ellies are coming out, and I was just saying to Dave now, you know, often people ask what is our favorite place on Juma, and where do we like the most on Juma. Well, we're sitting right in my favorite place at the moment. I absolutely love this area, and the reason why is you can see in the background there, you've got a kind of forest of leadwoods on the top. You've then got this thick sort of riverine vegetation that surrounds the sides of the Mulawati riverbank, and often you get these Ellies that kind of just come in to this area, and the contrast between the dark grey of the elephants, these big ancient old leadwoods, and then the bright lush green of the riverbank, and the area, the grasses and the sedges and the spike thorns and bush willows that grow on these banks is just so pretty, and it's one of the best places just to sit and enjoy wildlife. So it's one of my favorite areas to sit, and I think it's very picturesque as well to have them all kind of spread out in this section. So, Joshua, you're wondering if a decent-sized herd of elephants would welcome a smaller herd of elephants into theirs. Well, Joshua, it depends. I mean, so sometimes, yes, they will. If you find a situation where there's really a difficult time and there's a lot of elephants that are trying to get to water, and there's only one point where water is, you'll find that other elephants will be kind of tolerant of each other, and these herds can grow quite big. I've also seen it in times when there's really a lot. So even in the flood times, you sometimes find, because there's so much food, the herds can sometimes grow to 100, 200 elephants, and then they will split apart as it gets a little harder to find the food, and they have to then travel a little bit more. But I've also seen, like I say, the reverse. When it's drought and you get little concentrations of water, then you get these massive concentrations of elephants, and you can sometimes get situations where you'll get, 100, 200 elephants congregating around a water point, and they, even though they are not actually one herd. They'll be quite tolerant of one another, and they'll all kind of just hang around together and bide their time to get water and be quite patient. So it's really quite cool to watch how clever elephants are, and that they know at certain times they need to be friendly, and then at other times they can be a little bit more kind of boisterous and kind of chase things away. The other thing about it is that most of the elephants in these areas generally actually know each other. They are split-offs from those families, and so through communication they've bumped into each other before, or they've split off from each other in the past, and so they're actually quite tolerant of other herds being in the area, because sometimes they even know who those members are. They might know it as one of their old herd members that has already split off, or something like that. So it's a very interesting process as they go through it. But what amazes me about this particular herd is this female here, which is the one in front who's got her bum to us. She's the old one, but you can see she's pregnant. So I wonder if this will be her last calf that she's going to have in her life. Look at that. You see how she's just moved that whole branch? How cool is that? Well done, girl. And that's just to expose some of the grasses that were hidden underneath there. But I wonder if this is going to be her last one, and if she will be, after that will be kind of into retirement mode. But talking about young ones and talking about having young ones, obviously Thandi has had her little cub, and well, Scott is still sitting with her, and hopefully that little ball of energy decides to make an appearance soon.
Well, I'm confident that a little bit later on this evening that cub is going to be so lucky to witness. However, for now, it seems like everything in this area is quite hot and sleepy. So I think what would make sense is to head on out. The Buffalo's Hook waterhole is not too far from here. Maybe we'll find some action over there. I know if I was an animal, that's exactly where I would be. And we'll do a kind of loop around this general area, see what else we can find, and come back. Some great action between this mother and her youngster. So those are our plans. I'm happy that Tristan gave you a little bit more insight onto this leopard's hunting capabilities. He is definitely a wizard when it comes to the leopards of the northern Sabi sands, having spent so much time here, and we're really lucky to have him on board with all that knowledge of the leopards here. Very good. As you can see, she is fast asleep, taking it easy. And Tom, you'd like to know, how do leopards keep cool in this heat? Well, they pant, as you can see her doing now, just like a dog would. They don't sweat, and they kind of just seek refuge in shady spots. Sometimes they'll also climb up trees. If I was her, that's where I would be now. She's in quite a steep gully here, so there's not going to be much of a breeze down there. And there's quite a lot of vegetation, so she's almost blanketed down there. Whereas if she was up on an open limb of a marula tree, she would definitely be getting more draft, but it wouldn't be as comfortable as kind of lying on the ground. So it's a bit of a trade-off, I guess, between being on a more comfortable but slightly warm surface as opposed to being up in a tree where it might be a little bit cooler but less comfortable. Well, I mean, another thing about being up a tree is that she's quite full-bellied, so that full belly trying to balance on a branch may cause her a little bit of discomfort. Very good. Hopefully, though, later on we will be able to see her up a tree. I think she still has a portion of her kill remaining not too far away from here. Either way, I think we are going to get lucky a little bit later on, but for check one or two water holes, see what else we can find, and pop back in here a little bit later. Ah, well, hopefully the rainy weather up in the Masai Mara is going to cause the Musketeer Coalition to get up and satisfy Brent's urge to move about.
No, we are in our tent, and I've made a makeshift plant there. I've kept the front open just so I can see where the cheetah are. What they've done is pretty much what we are doing. They have hunkered down under a gardenia tree, looking quite miserable. We're lucky enough to have our tent car in operation, And so I've just made a plan. This is not how we normally do it. Normally the windscreen's up, but I want to be able to see nicely across the valley to where the cheetah are. Unfortunately the camera's too high, so the cheetah are sitting somewhere about there, but me down here I can see where they are. They're not moving just yet. They are sleeping, or not sleeping, they're just cuddled together to keep away from the rain. Where did I put my binoculars? Let's have a quick double check on them. Yes, they have not moved. They're all in a puddle. A puddle of cheetah in a puddle of water. Let's go back to Rolf, who seems like he's trying to run away from the rain.
Thanks, Brent. Yes, everybody, there's a couple of little things that I really want to show you, but I'm keeping it as a surprise. That Hyena did give us very good clues, and I will be taking you there in a minute. But before I do that, there's something else that I want to show you, but I'm just trying to locate exactly where this very special sighting is, and I think I might now have taken the wrong road. But let me just have a quick look. And I think, Archie, this isn't the right one, is it? We need to go back that way. I think I need to spin around here. Sorry everyone, but there's two very nice spots that I just heard through the grapevine, through the bush telegraph, and chatted with some of the locals, and we've got some insight onto something a little bit different from the lions, but those hyenas have really showed us where those lions are. So we'll be going back there in a minute, but as I say, I've got something very exciting before that to show you. And luckily for us, that storm has now seems to have shifted completely onto Brent's side of the river, as you would have seen with him with those covers up. But now I just need to find my way. I think it might be this road. There we are. We're looking for one particular little spot that I do need to just find. We haven't often been into this part of the reserve. This is right up near the Chitwa lodge. So people often fly into the Chitwa airstrip, and then it's a very short little transfer to the actual lodge itself. Now, I think I am on the right road, Archie. So you're... Okay, so I'm just coming through here, and if my intel is correct, we are going to be getting very close to a wonderful sighting, but we are just trying to work out exactly where we are. There's quite a thickety area here. So, and look at that beautiful colors when it's shining through the clouds, the light. I'm just looking around this area. I see lots of tire tracks. No, it's a little bit further on here. Oh, it might be there. I'm going to just check right down near to this bridge. Let's have a look at that. Look at that, everybody. Oh, look at this now. I wonder if you guys can tell me what these little birdies are. Please send in if anybody knows what birds these are. They're all having a lovely little dust bath. Very special indeed. I was talking about these little birds and how they nest on the side of the riverbank a little bit earlier. And listen up, you can also hear them calling. Now look at that. That's all in aid of feather maintenance. Getting rid of that excess oil on their feathers. Now I'm going to give you another 20 seconds and I'm going to tell you which bird this is. Very diagnostic features there. Lovely white around the face. Nice long beaks to keep the food that they like to catch away from their eyes. Colleen, you're not far off. You said carmine bee-eaters. It is a bee-eater, but it's not a carmine bee-eater. So, let's see. Who else? Project Alpha, you've got it right. It is white-fronted bee-eaters. Now, I've never seen so many of them together like this before in my life. So this is wonderful. And their call is like a meow, meow, meow. There's lots of them. Wow. Look at beautiful green colors on them as well. And they're really getting into that dust, hey? So we're on our way to a wonderful sighting, but this has now stopped us on our way there. Oh, and there they all go. So now that they've departed, let's head you on back down south to South Africa. Tristan has got another bird of a different kind.
Well, it sounds like Rolf is having a wonderful afternoon and is thoroughly in his element with dusting, bee-eaters and hyenas on the prowl to find lions. Now, we don't have a bee-eater, but we have a bird that is equally beautiful, particularly in this part of the world, and that is our woodland kingfishers. Now, they are a lot more quiet than they were when they first arrived, but they are still equally beautiful. And look at that. You can see the bright red and black beak with the eye stripe that comes through, and that brilliant white chest that they've got, and you get a little bit of their iridescent blue. Oh, that's very kind of you. I was just about to talk about their blue that we couldn't see, so very kind of this woodland kingfisher just to turn around and show us just how pretty it is. This is almost like the model of woodland kingfishers. It's just like, well, you want to see my best side? This is my good side right here. How cool is that? It is seriously pretty, this bird, and it is such a joyful bird to have because it's a reminder of summer when you're kind of coming out of that dreary, dry, brown winter. All of a sudden you'll get a little rain, and then you'll hear that telltale call that comes resonating through the air, and then this flash of color and these bright blue wings that come past you, and you see your first woodland for the summer, and you really kind of feel better about things, and that rain is coming and that it's about to become vibrant. So they really are sort of symbolizes change of season and that there's lots of new things coming. Isn't it? I think it's fantastic, this bird. It's as beautiful as it gets, and that electric blue feather is just unbelievable. I will say one thing, they are pretty like this, but when you get golden light, it is even better. For some reason, those blues just take on an almost electric hue in golden light, and even the whites start to get a little bit more kind of gold. It's amazing when they like that. So, Miss Parker, you say you never get tired of watching this kingfisher. Well, I know they are exquisite, and like I say, I think everybody enjoys these kingfishers. The other thing about them is that they are just such an interesting bird. You would think that they wouldn't be able to tackle too many big things, but these guys go after massive, massive prey items. Now, Philip, you're wondering when we'll see our last woodland kingfisher off. Woodland, did you grab something? I wonder if it got something. So the last kingfisher of the season obviously is a bit rain dependent. If we get good rains and we start to see another sort of flush of insects, that sometimes can hold the woodland kingfishers back a little bit, but generally our last ones are in March, sometimes a little bit into April. We'll see them. I remember last year we got late rains and they actually only left late April, but normally end of March, beginning of April, that's the kind of time that we see our last ones. But you can tell already that they're far less vocal than what they were. Very few mating displays now, so most of them should have bred already, and now they're going to start kind of fattening up before they start flying back north towards the equator. Right, now I'm going to carry on. I'm on the southern boundary now. I'm just going to check what's happening down here. While I do that, let's send you back across to Scotty D, who has found, well, some big giant pachyderms of his own.
Yes, we have. It's a small herd of large animals, and it seems like mainly youngsters in the herd. I'm guessing maybe some of the other adults are hidden by some of the thick vegetation in this area. And I'm guessing that they're slowly making their way up to the Buffelshoek waterhole. We've just come from there. There was not too much happening, but they are slowly making their way in that direction. Interesting stuff about the kingfishers and all the other migratory birds and what they're getting up to. What I've been surprised by is the lack of carmine bee-eaters that have come into this area. I've only seen 2 the entire time that I've been here, and I think, who was it? Was it Noel? I think it was Noel who's got probably the only sighting of them that you guys have been able to enjoy. So there's definitely a link between the lack of rain and the lack of migratory birds, or at least also may have an impact on when the migrants that did actually come to visit us depart. So hopefully we're going to get blessed with some late rains, but there's no guarantees that that is going to happen. What is fascinating though is that looking at this picture here, it does look very lush and green, and that's from just one decent downpour that we got about 4 or 5 days ago. This whole area was looking really drab and brown, but thankfully just from one decent rainfall the bushes, and I'm sure these elephants are very grateful that they can at least chew on some lush, moist vegetation as opposed to some dry, untasty stuff. William, just 5 years old, you would like to know where are the baby elephants? Well, even though these are babies, because they're not very young, they're not very old yet, and just like us humans, they take a long time to grow up, maybe 15 to 20 years before they are fully grown. But they can live for up to about 60 years, so they live a similar kind of life to us. And there is one little youngster kind of beginning to poke its head out a little bit. There we go. That looks like the smallest one in the herd, and I'm guessing it's probably about 2 years old. But the one to the right of it, I would say, is the same age as you, William. This one coming out over here could well have been born in the same month as you, but I'm only joking. It would be a very bold guess for me to assume that. It's difficult for us to know when these animals are born, but it could be roughly about 5 or 6 years old. And who knows, maybe there'll be some smaller ones than this coming on. I can see some more elephants coming into this area. It might be a bigger herd than I expected it was initially. Just going to creep forward a little bit to try and get some better views of the rest of the herd. Sorry, Jarlin, I didn't share exactly what your question was, but you did want to know something. Oh, you'd like to know, what do elephants do for fun? Well, they can swim. I think swimming is probably one thing that they really enjoy doing. They also enjoy throwing dust over themselves or wallowing in big muddy wallows. So those are probably their favorite thing to do with mud and water, is what really gets them excited. But eating is, I guess, another thing. They spend a lot of time eating, and one thing that I love seeing them do, and it's something we're going to see them doing more and more in the next few weeks, is them running from marula tree to marula tree, trying to race the rest of the herd to get to the fallen fruits, which are really, really tasty. We've actually started collecting a few. One of the cameramen wants to make a kind of juice from the fruits, a fizzy juice, and I would like to make some marmalade out of the fruits. And elephants love running around and snacking on those. I think it's possibly their favorite food in this area. I think it's actually looking for the... oh no, that's just eating grass now. I was looking up. They are below a marula tree, but it doesn't look like the fruits are ripe on it yet. All the trees kind of ripen at different rates. Very, very good. Well, we're going to keep cruising about and possibly catch up with this herd a little bit later on once they hopefully make it up to the Buffelshoek waterhole, where maybe lucky and see them swimming, bathing around. Hello. Goodbye. Okay. We're going to keep bumbling about and send you back across to Tristan, who I think is doing the very same thing.
Well, I am driving about at the moment. I just checked in with Janet Jackson. So for those of you who don't know who Janet Jackson is a famous celebrity genet that lives in a hole in a leadwood that is close to our southern boundary. No, I'm joking. It's a genet that is not very famous, but we gave it the name Janet Jackson, and it kind of is a bit of an enigma a lot of the times, is that we success rate of finding this genet in its hole, but well, we try anyway, and sometimes we get these cool little views of the tail sticking out or spots in the hole or whatever it may be. So just a little check in there. But Janet Jackson's away for the weekend, decided to take a beach holiday. It was a little kind of dreary here in the bush on Friday, and so she thought, well, I'll just take a weekend away, and well, the weekend has turned into a bit of a midweek break as well. So hopefully we'll be back by the sort of end of the week. You never know with Janet Jackson. It could be 5 weeks until we see her again. Such is the life of a star Janet. Of course, I'm just talking nonsense. It's just, it could be in the hole. I just didn't see it. Right, so well, what we're doing now is we kind of check the southern boundary. And the reason why I check the southern boundary is because there's been a kind of interesting movement of leopards down there. There's Hosanna, who managed to get his kill back from hyenas. He had an impala kill that was stolen by hyenas yesterday, and he was then chased by baboons, and it sounded like a horrible day for poor little Hosanna yesterday. But he's managed to get some of that impala back, and apparently is in a tree with it. Tummy rotund. But what happened this morning is apparently while he was on his kill, a female arrived. Now the female that arrived is called the Sabui female. Now Sabui is a young female that comes from Mala Mala. I think she's the daughter of the Kikalezi female. I'm not 100% sure. Somebody can double check that and maybe let me know, but I think it's the daughter of Kikalezi female. And she comes in every now and then from the southern boundary and has been pushing kind of a little bit into a net, a little bit into vessels and in those areas. But she made a massive move forward today by coming all the way north into Little Gari and then pushed even further northwest from that towards Hofmans. And so I thought it would be a good idea just to come down here. It's an absolute stab in the dark, but sometimes when a leopard's got that kind of I'm going to go explore mode, they can sometimes push a lot further than you think. And so I thought, well, maybe let's just check down here. You never know. It's hot. They might be at water. So just having a little look around. So far, no luck, but you never know, it might happen. And then from there we're going to go to Treehouse Dam now. We're going to go check the southern boundary again and then that western boundary in the hope that I can find either the newcomer Hukamuri so that you can all get a good view of him, because I know fuss is about, or we're going to try and find my favorite young male, which is Tumba, who is not very far away as well, and you know that could be on the cards too. And so if we could find Tumba, I think I would have the most perfect day, because I would have had Thandi and Cub this morning, baby Ellie's this afternoon, and little Tumba would round it off into be a perfect day. So that's the plan for the afternoon. Whether it all plays out, I'm not quite sure, but we're going to try anyway. It's going to be certainly the sort of aim of the game, and I live as somewhere in the middle there, and it will still be a good time. That's the hope for us. What do you think, Darby?
Sounds good.
Darby says sounds good. Darby's looking over his sunglasses, peering at me, thinking this guy is just talking lots of nonsense. Now, I don't know what keeps happening with my earpiece. My earpiece keeps kind of falling out, and so it causes this thing. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and fix my earpiece while I'm driving, which is why I'm leaning forward and using my elbow on the steering wheel. Now, any kids that are around, please do not drive like this, because it is not ideal to be driving in this fashion. You certainly are probably going to cause an accident and hurt yourself. But I heard that next time. So while I fix my earpiece, which I've managed to do, and now I have my hands safely on the steering wheel, let's send you back across to Brent Leo Smith, who hopefully has survived his rainstorm and is not looking thoroughly miserable in his little tent watching the cheetahs.
Well, we're still in the tent. We've just opened up some parts of it. We've lost some of the boys at the moment. There's some Topi and zebra here. I just need to check where they are. Oh, there we go. Now I get wet when I go this way. Rain's coming in. Open this one side for me here, Andrew, so I can see. Okay, so we've got a few flaps down. I mean, just try to see them. Can you see them yet out of that side there, Adrian? Can you see them out this side? I can't see them. I have no view here. Okay, now I should be able to see. I'm going to swing around. Adrian, we want to see what they're doing, what their body language is looking like. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, I can see their body language, and they are definitely stalking. Let me just get into a position where we can see everything that's going to happen. No cars behind us. I wonder what they're going for. There's zebra and topi. So I'm just going to try get us into a spot where we can see everything, guys. So ideally we actually just want to be on the outside of the animals just because of our limited field of view with our stuff down. Okay. So now I know where they're coming from. I can put ourselves into a position. Okay, let's Megs, let's stay with us. And prep and Facebook. Okay. This is going to be quite challenging, guys. I'm just going to try and see if I can see their heads popping up over the hill here. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to let you know, because the covers are down, as they come over, and I think they're about to charge, what I might have to do is to reverse. Adrian's going to have to be quick. But I'm just checking now. I can see their heads popping over the ridge. Not yet. But there's a car over there. They were just to the left of the car. Now the reason I framed the vehicle like this is you can see there's zebra here. And just to the right of us, just to the right of the zebra, there's topi. Now we can't see the topi yet, so I'm not sure what they're going for. But I can hear a lapwing spotted them. I'm just trying to see. This is quite challenging. Okay.
If anything, this should be coming from this
just to the left of that car. I'm just trying to see their heads popping up over the top. You know what, Adrian? I'm going to roll up this one side. So you guys can stay with me just in case something happens while I'm busy fiddling. But Adrian, I'm going to need your help here quickly. Oh, let's close that. So I think whatever's going to happen is imminent. That's why we're just trying to get ready while we are live. So we do apologize. I'm just worried that with the delays between the feeds we might miss something if we go away. So I'm just taking my earpiece out for a second. There we go. Yeah, let's just open that zip because the back is, we can't get out the car here. So just open that zip, and then so the back can stay attached, and then we can just wind up this one side. This is one of the challenges out here. Is the zip stuck? Okay. Do you need help? No, can't get off here? You can't. Just close the zip here properly as well. Okay, we're just trying to figure this out, as well as keeping an eye on where the cheetah are about to pop out from. Okay, we can open halfway. Okay guys, so this will just give us, if they do decide to go, a much wider field of view. Okay, there we go. I think just leave it like that, or if you can grab that there. No, look, there we go. Not too tight, otherwise it'll break. So maybe just do it further along there. Yeah, perfect. Isn't this exciting? Hunting cheetah in the rain. The rain's not as hard as it was, but it is still here. Enough that we have to worry about our equipment. Okay, we're gonna quick have a look. Amanda's asking, are there lion and leopard around that might take the cheetah's kill? it's possible. I haven't seen any, but that doesn't mean there aren't. Okay, we're just going to go have another quick look so we know exactly what's going on. Feel a bit more comfortable. Okay, there they are. I think that's them. Yes, that's them. Okay. I'm just going to use, I'm just using the car there. So just behind that car that I've cut out. Oh, there we go. Sorry about the flap. But they have gone flat for the moment. Let me just go backwards a little bit so the flap's not in the way. There we go, they're on the move again. Okay, but whether, I'm just trying to see if they've been spotted by something yet. Oh, there's no young zebra in there. Okay, Megs, I think we can go live for the action broadcast if you would like to. Welcome everyone to the Masai Mara in Kenya. We are with the 5 male cheetah. They are stalking up to a herd of zebra at the moment who have not spotted them. There's also Topi and Thompson's gazelle around. This could be very exciting. They're quite hungry. It's been raining, and so there's quite a strong wind which will help them sneak up and not let them get smelt. There we go. They're playing the patience hunt at the moment though. Moving a little bit, stopping, waiting, watching. But I think the time for them to take out the jet shoes is imminent. And just please send your questions through on the feed below. We would love to hear from you. This is 100% live. Okay, you can see them now. Now let's just have a look where the zebra are quickly. And just show everyone. So they're probably about 100 meters or so. So everyone, it seems like the machine that goes onto Facebook freaked out. So we're just with all of you, our regulars, our family. So we are here. And the zebras still, as you can see, haven't noticed them. But I'm wondering if the zebras are actually more of a hindrance to them at the moment, because there are topi beyond the zebra, which is probably more of what they're after. So let's have a look to the right there. We can see there's some topi down there. Left. There we go. And some tommies. So I'm wondering if these zebra aren't actually in the way, so to speak, of them having a successful hunt this evening. Okay, well, it looks like they've given up on the hunt for now, but I'm definitely going to sit here a little bit longer. I need to get on the radio to talk to my backup crew who's coming to watch them till I come out in the early hours of this morning. But it seems like my cats haven't managed to succeed yet, but Rolf's found some cats that have.
Thanks, Brent, and look at this, everybody. I couldn't find the other very nice sighting that we were looking for, but the hyena that I said earlier led us to this. And the other exciting sighting was actually a very big python that had swallowed a gazelle. So I wanted to get in on that, but it seems like it went down into the river, and so we couldn't see it from where we were. And they are very vulnerable at that stage when they've swallowed something big like that. So going down into a very nice hiding place was probably a good idea for it. It was just unlucky that we missed it. But we're lucky to see, it seems like it's the marsh or the marsh breakaway pride, which is eating a buffalo. And there you can see one of its feet. So not for sensitive viewers. If anybody is not happy with that, just please understand that there might be quite gory bits and pieces going on here. It seems they've been feeding on it for quite a while, so it's not like there's going to be massive amounts of guts and so on, but yeah, there's always going to be meat exposed. And now, Endrine, thanks for your comment. Yep, family meal. And look at those youngsters getting in there, hey? They're a good old age now, and that's very good that they're getting themselves on to a nice buffalo. I wonder if they made this kill. I would hope so, because it would be nice if we start getting some buffalo hunting lions around and start getting these buffalo on their toes a little bit. And with such a big pride, it would be very useful for them to start specializing in buffalo. I would say the same for the Olololo pride. They're also getting very big, and it's about time they start hunting buffalo. I really like when lions hunt buffalo and big animals like this, because I think it's almost beneath them to be hunting things like warthog. It's almost disrespectful, I would say, to the greater good of lions. Lions being the king of the jungle, they should be eating big animals, not small little things that are not really what they should be hunting in my books. But that's just me. I don't like watching lions hunting warthogs, because it's yeah, as I say, a bit disrespectful to the greater good of lions. Listen to that. There's a little bit of arguing going on around that. Bit of growling, and there we go. A very powerful sound that is from lions. And look at all those fat bellies, lots of panting, all the digesting of this very wonderful meat they've got themselves into now. There still seems to be quite a bit of meat around, but they have had a good fair do of it already. Lovely to see. Well, that's the circle of life, eh? With one animal dying, look how many are able to survive on this one buffalo. And that's once again bringing us back to natural selection, survival of the fittest. I don't know what sex or age or anything that this buffalo is that they've taken down. If it was a bull, hopefully he's already passed on his genes. If he was a big strong bull, maybe he's sort of hit the latter years of his life, hanging down here near to the river. Maybe he was a Dugger boy, and in which case he probably has passed on his genes, and now they're just putting him out of his misery. Like we had been seeing that one buffalo up sort of towards where we saw the buffalo where we started the drive this afternoon, and there was a very old bull whose boss was rotting, his back legs were all gammy, his testicles were rotten, it was almost disgusting, he stank, and the lions put him out of his misery, and it was fantastic, because I mean he was really suffering, and that's great when the lions come in and just do the job and put him out. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's happened here, but natural selection does take its course when we look at that, because only the fittest and the strongest should be passing their genes on, especially in nature. You know, humans, and please don't get me wrong, we defy nature with modern technology and modern medicine and science. I mean, I probably shouldn't be alive right now, you know. I probably should have died of something that I had antibiotics that kept me alive. But that's why we're also landing up with a lot of sort of other problems as humans. But yeah, I mean, I've got kids of my own, and you're not going to tell me that I wouldn't save my child's life. It's not just let nature take its course. But I'm just talking in natural senses with these wonderful animals. It's great that we do then allow that to continue through, and the strongest genes come. Oh, there's some more growling and stuff going on around this carcass. So this is also fantastic, because now I can pass this over to the night watch crew, and then Taylor can hopefully be with these guys early in the morning. Yeah, it's not always ideal because they've already fed very well, so there might not be too much action for the show in the morning, but well, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe there'll be some hyenas coming in like the one that led us here. Maybe they'll band together and see here the male coming in and basically taking over the meal, I think, and he's got a bit of a grouch with one of them in particular, it seems. He'll be imposing himself, especially on any of the... Look at this. Look at this. Right next to us. Listen now, he's roaring now, just behind us. And this male now coming up towards us as well. I just want to see what's happened behind us. The female's gone and laid down. I don't want to move just yet, everybody, because this male's right behind us, and now the other male is coming up as well. I think it's the Chitwa boys. I just want to be a little bit quiet and we see what happens. Might have been just one of the females was just pushing her luck a little bit. And there's all sorts happening down by the carcass as well. Wonderful. Wonderful. And you see how the other male immediately he comes up. As soon as there's a little tiff between male and female, he'll probably be coming to back up his coalition partner there, as opposed to coming to back up the female. I would say that he's definitely on his buddy's side, not on the female side. But also remember, around the food, the males definitely have dominance. Females need to take a back seat. Wonderful. Got quite a lot of scars around the eye there. Now, Jeremy, you want to know how big the marsh breakaway territory is? It's not huge, but it extends all the way from the Mara River up to this very deep lugger that we're just on the edge of now, and then all the way up to the Governor's Gate. So in terms of general lion territories, not big at all, as this male now is just marking his territory as we're talking about that. But there's a very big concentration of lions here in the Mara Triangle in particular, and that's why I believe that there's probably no cheetah here, is because of that specific reason, because of that high concentration of lions. I think they're not quite comfortable coming over here, and there's lots of long grass, lots of hiding places, so it's a little bit different on the other side of the river. They've got long visuals, very short grass, be able to get away from the lions a bit easier. I might be wrong, or maybe Brent would tell us differently, or Jamie, but that's just the feeling that I get with the real concentration of lions on this side of the river, and the type of terrain there is coupled with that, and that's the reason maybe the cheetah aren't quite comfortable here. So heading out towards the Tanzanian border, we get those ones there, the border boys I think it is, and then over on the other side of the river as well. But it would be wonderful to have cheetah on this side in the triangle. Alright everyone, this has been absolutely fantastic. I need to start making my way slowly back, handing over to the night watchman, but while I do that, let's head you on over to South Africa and Tristan.
Well, now Ralph is having a wonderful afternoon. Sounded like, well, gazelle, I think it was. Wasn't it gazelle or impala? Whatever it was. Pity we didn't have any signal. But what we've got here, which is quite cool, is you saw Dave was kind of focused in on it just now, is a track for a female leopard. Now, normally my initial thought would have been straight to Shadow and maybe not Barbara, one of the two of them, going into Juma, but who knows at the moment. And given that that Sabui female was left going northwest, apparently she cut into Hofmann's, and Hofmann, this cat came along this main road and is now cut into Juma along a nice path. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and see if I can find this cat. It's going to be a tough one because these tracks look like they were from this morning. So we're going to try and have a little look around, but you never know. Maybe we get lucky and we find either Shadow or Not Barbara or Shadulu, or I don't even know. It could be any one of them. It's exciting nonetheless, and it's really interesting because this western sector at the moment has got full of surprises because we don't really know what leopards we're tracking half the time. We're just finding tracks and it's leading us to all kinds of different individuals. So we're going to try and follow them. They look fairly good. I mean, they're not as fresh as possibly I would main, and then we might have had a good chance, but they are fresh enough to be worth kind of following and just seeing. Sorry Dave, you've got a big bush. Oh, I'm stalled as well. This is all going pear-shaped right now, so let's get rid of that bush so that Dave doesn't have to get hit by a bush as we go through. It wasn't a very well thought out plan. We didn't execute that well. Right, let's just carry on here and see what goes on. Interestingly enough though, it's just kind of like the tracks just disappear, so it's like she crosses and then you can't find anywhere other, or sort of any other tracks on that little mound of sand there. But I'm going to try and just double check here. There's a nice little path that runs through, and so hopefully I'll pick up a track on the fire break, and that will certainly help me a little bit better with what's going on. I mean, they could have also been from last night, but we'll have to have a look. Now this should be roughly where they come out, and I see that somebody's been walking here, so I want to just double check if they're on top of the walking tracks, or he is doing what I'm doing and is ambling about, but hopefully he's going to have a little bit more luck when it comes to leopards than what I am.
Yeah, my job's going to be a lot easier than Tristan's because the leopard that we are going to look for has already been located. So good luck to him on his missions though. I hope he finds Shadow. It's been a while since we've seen her and her daughter. So good luck, Trist. He has a knack of finding leopards, old Tristan, so you'll probably find in the next few minutes you'll be heading back to enjoy a leopard sighting with him. As we moved out of this area where we left Thandi, this female leopard, a little bit earlier, there was a whole bunch of impala in that area, so we may well find that she could get up and try and snatch one, and that would be an awesome thing to see. She already has a small amount of a baby waterbuck kill cached somewhere. I think it could be in 2 pieces, but she's definitely not going to pass up an opportunity that presents itself to her. So here's an Inyala in front of us. You may have just seen skedaddle off the road, and this was also where the impala, here we go, here's some impala over here, just on the left. We're going to go past now, and she's not too far away from here, so watch out, impala. You could become Thandi's dinner if you are not careful. Who knows, maybe she's even stalking them now, but I just want to get back into the last position to make sure she is still there, not creeping up on them. And we'll just remember that they are nearby. Where should we go? Where did I turn off? Just here. Hello to Sam. You would like to know, who is Thandi related to? Well, she is the daughter of Karula and the sister of Shadow, the mother of Tamba, and the mother of no-name brand Fluffball that we will hopefully see shortly. Does that help? She will be related to other leopards as well. I just don't know all of them. She'll have stepbrothers in the form of Quarantine and Kunyuma and Hosanna and Mishu and Nduna, I think was Mishu's brother's name. Those are 2 leopards I didn't see. So yeah, I think that's who she's related to. I don't know if you were wanting any more specifics or just a general kind of feel. So we're getting close now. That's why I'm just driving slowly. She was down to our left somewhere. Ah, very good. Now, what I'm going to do, everyone, is I'm just going to wait a split second here just to give us a quick view. But then I am going to give some other guests who do not have the joy of being able to join these safaris all the time a view, because they have come all the way out here and we are taking the only spot where we can get a decent view of her. So, we know where she is. We'll be sure to jiggle about a little. Other guests who are waiting behind us a good view. And our vehicle can also maneuver quite well, more easily than the big game viewers that the other guides have to contend with. So let's see if I can find another spot and open up this little spot for some other people. It is going to be tricky, but I think we'll be able to make a plan from the other side. So while we get us into another spot with our more maneuverable little vehicle, we will send you across to Ralph.
Thanks, Scott, and well, everybody, I am absolutely stoked because mission accomplished. We found those lions with males on a buffalo kill, so that is absolutely fantastic for Taylor in the morning. Let's just hope that they don't go too flat, get too fat, and don't do anything. But I'm holding my fingers crossed and thumbs in. Everything's going to go well for her. But now we're heading up towards the escarpment. We need to make our way out of the park. Our relief crew is sitting with that pride of lions, and we're now heading up. It's absolutely beautiful, but the rain is starting to come down as well, so we need to make our escape, otherwise we're going to get nice and wet. But the crew is there, so I'm happy. Now please remember that this is the last little bit from us in the Mara for this evening, and also want to just say goodbye to all the viewers on the different platforms. If you do want to continue watching, please just Google Safari Live and you'll see that you can watch on YouTube or whatever different platform as well. So thanks everybody, and wonderful day today, this morning and this afternoon. I feel a happy man. I'm going to send you back on over to Tristan. Bye for now.
Well, I'm glad that you've had a wonderful day, Ralph. I hope that you have a safe journey home and that everything is good. Now, our tracks for this female leopard just vanish. They kind of go up towards the fire break, but don't actually come out on the fire break, and kind of seems as though maybe they've drifted back to Gari Main. So I'm just checking. I think that they could possibly be for Shadulu female. Now, Shadulu has a kudu kill straight in front of me, basically, but inside Arathusa. There's a road that runs parallel with Arathusa, well, with the sort of kudu calf kill somewhere in that area. So I think this is the tracks, and she just kind of flirted in and out of Juma and then eventually headed on to Arathusa. That's what I think it is, but I will double check the blocks and just make 100% sure. But I can't really find any tracks going over the fire break back into Juma properly. It's kind of comes back again. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to try and discover exactly what has gone on here, but either way, it's at least some movement of a female, and I would probably would prefer that it was a shadow, to be honest. I haven't seen Shadow, haven't heard about Shadow for a while, so it'd be really nice to catch up with her and not Barbara and see what they're up to and whether they are okay and doing fine. Obviously, since those Hukamuri males come in, I kind of worry about all of our leopards until we see them. It always makes it a little bit more kind of tense. One I also worry about is little Tumba, because, well, Tumba is pretty close to where Hukamuri crossed during the day today, and so I hope that he doesn't get bullied by Hukamuri and just decides to leave him alone and let little Tumba have a free pass back down this side of the world and back into Juma, where he can come and take it easy for a little bit and take it sort of, it's a safe path back to wherever there's a nice sort of gap for him that he can spend time. Right. Now we're on Triple M, so we've got to look out for our leopard friends, because, well, they're all just to our left, apparently. It's crazy to think that there is 3 leopards within sort of a square kilometer of where we are, And you'd think that one of them would decide that the grass is indeed greener on the Juma side and come this side, but it seems as though all of them have decided Arethusa for today, which is fine. They can have Arethusa for this afternoon, but they must then come back tomorrow and they can all come and be on Juma tomorrow. What do you think? I think that's a good plan. I think we can have them all tomorrow morning, would be just fine. Hang on a second, what is that now? I keep finding random tracks everywhere while driving this road, and at the least sort of opportune times. I don't know why. I'm sure I saw a track crossing here somewhere. Right, now I have to do this slowly because, well, this road is very well driven, and so sometimes it's a little difficult to see. So while I double check and make 100% sure, let's go back across to Scott, who I think has got a beautiful view of the beautiful Thandi.
Well, we do actually have a great view from here, little window through the foliage, and what's nice about this spot as opposed to where we were earlier is that we're a little bit lower down, so we don't have a kind of bird's eye view down onto the animal. And when viewing and filming wildlife, it's always best to be as... And it looks like the youngster could be coming out to play. Oh, is it a kudu? Ferg just told me something was up, and that's why she's poking her head up.